Hi, I'm Kevin Crouch. I'm the director of Let Me Down Easy. Um, what to say about Let Me Down Easy? It was not what we originally had slated for our season. I was slated to direct something different, um, 39 Steps actually. But given COVID happening, we instantly went back and started looking at ideas for pieces that would be um, easier to do in a COVID environment. Um, which led me to Anna Deavere Smith's work. Originally tried to do Twilight, but the rights were restricted, um, so found our way to Let Me Down Easy. I thought it was an excellent play that was instantly accessible during this time, especially during a pandemic. It felt very appropriate to be talking about death and dying and healthcare and our attitude around all of it in this country, especially considering part of our country's approach to the pandemic. I thought it was a really interesting thing to be examining at the time. I was also really excited to explore an ensemble rather than doing it as a one person show. To be able to put different different bodies on different characters that would not be expected. Anna Deavere Smith talks about that she can see this play cast very literally, or to let it be very against type, and she encourages that, which I think kind of speaks to even her doing it as a one woman show, playing all of these variety of genders and races and social standings, etc. It doesn't matter. So the students, I think, were excited about that. It allowed for a range of experience in my cast, which I was really excited about, from freshman to senior, from being the first time they've ever been cast to some folks that have been cast a lot. It was a great show in that sense, to get some folks' feet wet, if you will. In terms of COVID, we worked predominantly on Zoom, did all of our auditions on Zoom, cast the entire play through callbacks via Zoom, and did our first 3 weeks of rehearsal on Zoom. The nature of the play, it's all one person, so it was able to just have an individual Zoom and work that way on the monologues, which was actually really nice. And it taught me a lot about Zoom and taught me about the effectiveness that it actually can have. Our university we were in the fall, we were back face to face, but a socially distant and socially density was cut. So our classes were half in person, half the folks are watching via Zoom. And in masks. So if we wanted to rehearse in person, we needed to follow those protocols, which would be to be socially distant, not a problem with it being one person at a time on a monologue, but still in masks. So I actually really enjoyed working via Zoom because we could see each other, and I could see them, and I could watch them work. As we created the characters, it was my big encouragement to them was, this is not about doing an impersonation. This is not about mimicking anyone. This is about learning about these real people and trying to find the kernel of truth of them and try to understand that and let that be their inspiration, as opposed to trying to mimic Lance Armstrong or what have you. And a lot of the characters we didn't know. There wasn't a lot that they could pull from in terms of that. Though many of them have, though they may not be as famous as, say, Ann Richards or Lance Armstrong, they did have lots of TED Talks or what have you that you could look up and find some of those folks and hear them talk, see the lectures that some of the professor characters did, interviews that some of the doctors did, which was a great insight for the actors to be able to at least just kind of listen and hear the human, and then not impersonate it, but begin to find the essence of them, which I thought the students were very successful at. And then protocols in person for the performance was they were the only one on stage, so they were able to take their mask off. We did it to a socially distant audience, so the first person between them was about 100 feet away in a theater that seats 350. We only had 50 people in it. Our largest audience was only ever 25 people. And then we collaborated with our mass communications department to come in and film it. 3 camera setup, actually a 4 camera setup, and to film it. and then use that as our stream. So what you all watched was the streaming version, which actually was our final dress rehearsal. Students wore masks backstage, took the mask off as they walked on, did their characters, and then put them back on as they walked off. So we were able to follow all the safety guidelines, and which was great. That's Let Me Down Easy. That's all I have to say. Thank you. And thanks for all y'all's work. It's been exciting to watch.